back to the Ping Pong Flix Show. My name is Chris Wong. What a day, what a day. It's this weekend. This weekend is where everybody, and I mean everybody, is watching Zack Snyder's Justice League, seeing a lot of great responses online, a lot of people who aren't even anywhere near. I mean, we got the guy, the alien guy from what is that thing, that show on History Channel where they talk about aliens and stuff, like the guy who's like, it's aliens, that dude also hashtags as I think he said restore the Snyderverse. He actually did say restore the Snyderverse. Anthony Starr, Homelander himself, really going all out on this thing. So it's crazy to see that, but it's also very fulfilling, I would believe, for a lot of us who've fought for this a long time and feeling like we're alone and broken. Well, we're not broken. We were right about the Snyder Cut. We knew it existed and we knew it would be great. And now we're not alone in that. And the entire world is also watching it now. And more so now. But, you know, we have to talk about a little bit of other things too, but there's not much other things. Like there's just one thing from Godzilla vs. Kong. Well, Adam Wingard himself went on Instagram and totally just spoiled it. He just said it right there. Yeah, he didn't say it, but he did show a toy of giant Mecha Godzilla, which I want to get for my kid because he really wants that. That's the toy for the Mechagodzilla, hereby the director himself revealing to the world that yes, there is Mechagodzilla in this movie, like we already know. But that's the design for it. It is available. I've seen countless YouTube channels because of, you know, my kids were watching it, of that Mechagodzilla figure, and they are begging me to go and get it. I can't find it at Walmart. I don't know where to go. I don't know where to look. I guess I can only find it on, maybe I have to grab it online. So we'll see about that. But like I said, it's really all about Zack Snyder's Justice League today. I mean, quite honest, this whole weekend is going to be a Zack Snyder's Justice League extravaganza. Everybody's doing spoiler reviews, spoiler talk, talk about this and that. The Debbie and Zack have countless interviews. Debbie, we even went on Dave the Film Junkie show and had an interview there, and it's amazing. It's amazing the publicity this thing is getting, and it's amazing how it's just the word of mouth is so incredible that everybody wants to get in on it. Everybody's like, I need to watch the Snyder Cut because the world is watching it and I want to be a part of that. And so even today, there are trending, Zack Snyder's Justice League is trending today. It picked up again because I think in the weekend, it's Friday, people are having time off of work now to watch this 4-hour event this weekend. So we're going to see a lot of that. There's even a new hashtag called hashtag Snyder Cut Justice League. And to me, I think that is mainstream audiences right here. The audiences that are not within the movement or anything like that, not the fans themselves. This is actual word of mouth. They called it Snyder Cut Justice League, and that's their word for it. And that's why that's trending, because that's their Snyder Cut. So definitely it's cool to see that. It's cool to see that the outside, the general audiences are really responding and they're really liking it, and they really dig it. So that's awesome. It's just like more of us. We've just got an entire army of fans that have come on board with this thing and probably want to see more. So that's really awesome. Moving along here, Jared Leto talks about the difference between the Joker from Suicide Squad and the Nightmare Joker. Now, this is really cool because this is actually on Stephen Colbert. Now, Stephen Colbert's show. I would never have guessed, like in my wildest dreams, to ever see like Zack Snyder's Justice League or Snyder Cut to appear on Stephen Colbert's show. Like, this is mainstream, as much mainstream as you see on the late night show for you. And I want to play this little clip here. Hopefully I
can. We got this is here are the two iterations. Here's Suicide Squad, and here is one of the released images from the Snyder Cut. What's the difference between these two people, or is it just a continuum of the same character?
Well, I think it's an evolution. There's some years apart, and, certainly different directors. When you collaborate with somebody as well, you bring out different, just like every guest you have, it brings out a different side or a different joke or a different energy. And when you work with a different director, you bring out different things. Or they bring out different things in you. So I loved working with him. I love his passion. He knows more about this world than almost anybody.
We got this is here are the two.
Of course, he calls Zack Snyder a madman once again. So, also Jared Leto, he's also you see that he's wearing a "We Live in a Society" shirt, and he made that shirt through the AFSP. So there is a shirt available. I'll link that in the description down below. So if you want to get a shirt called "We Live in a Society," and I believe this is headed by Jared Leto himself for the AFSP, it goes to AFSP. So I think that's kind of really cool in that sense. And I don't know. See if you guys want to get a shirt about that's. It's such a simple shirt. It's just "We Live in a Society," but it means so much. It means absolutely so much. A little bit more. Of course, there's a lot more actually. What am I talking about? Comicbookmovie.com says Justice League. Zack Snyder reveals scrapped plans for comic book sequel and spinoff with Jim Lee. Exclusive Zack Snyder's Justice League restored the Snyderverse. Now, you know me. You know all of us. I want I definitely want a movie version or a series or something like that, more than a comic book. I mean, if it had to come down to a comic book, then yes, I'll take that. But not listen to this. I'll read to you what Zach actually said, and I'll give you my thoughts on this. When the reporter here called Josh Wildley, the interviewer asked, "I watched the film last night, and like everyone else here, I loved it. When I woke up this morning, though, I saw that Restore the Snyderverse was trending. I know, Zach, you said you're not sure about a movie sequel, but would you consider a comic book one? I feel like you and Jim Lee together could do something really special." And Zach said this: "Yeah, I talked to Jim about it. We literally had a plan to do a comic book as a huge run. We were basically going to do a comic book based on the whiteboard I released in Dallas. Well, that I have up in Dallas. I don't think it was released. That was problematic." Laughs. "I know you've all seen it though, so it's not like you haven't. So there was a comic book we were going to base on that, and then I wanted to do a mini run on the Joker Robin story on what was happening with Batman, what was happening with Joker, and what was happening with Robin. It would have been just that story as its own micro story. We were both super into it, but I think when there was that AT&T thing and a bunch of switches and cuts, so it got cut. But Jim said maybe in the future, if there's fan support, we'll see." So that is definitely what he's trying to say, a possibility of that happening in that, that happening that way. As I might have to turn this. But what is interesting about what he said there, that I really wanted to focus on, is the fact that he's telling us that what they wanted to tell the story for that would actually be the Dallas, the storyboards that they did in Dallas. The actual sequel to Zack Snyder's Justice League you see on HBO Max, he has another plan altogether, so it won't be that. But since he has those storyboards, you might as well, hey, maybe that'll be a great comic book run as an alternate sequel to Zack Snyder's Justice League. So for people who are like, "Oh no, he's just gonna make a comic book." No, I think he meant the storyboards, like he said in that interview. He meant the storyboards that are there in Dallas. That's the comic book run that he's interested in. But he also mentions about AT&T coming in and stuff like that. So I'm wondering if that was something that they talked about beforehand, and now maybe it's something different altogether. But I still would love to see a comic book run of the Dallas storyboards, because that is a different story than, I don't know how different it's going to be. Maybe the backbone's probably the same, but it's a different story from what he's going to accomplish within, if he gets to continue Zack Snyder's Justice League and by, restoring the Snyderverse. So that's a little bit about that. Sean O'Connell had a lot of interviews with Zack, so he said this: "In Zack Snyder's universe, we know the world is going to go to shit, Superman's going anti, and Darkseid will reign. So Real Blend asked him, when on the Zack Snyder's Justice League timeline does this all go down?" And that's something about the movie that is very, hidden. You don't actually know when things take place, especially when Justice League takes place after BVS. He does talk about that at the watch party, like, okay, it takes place about a month or so, but that's still not fully clear. But when does the nightmare take place? In the original storyboards, it takes place 5 years later. But what about this new version, right? So he says that the actual full fall of Earth is maybe a year or two later, maybe longer. I don't know, but not 10 years, but probably not 5 years. They've been on the lam for a while, because you can imagine that it's been long enough where they've sort of taken their eye off the Batcave as a place that Batman and his team might be. So that's a little bit more context to when that future takes place. So to give you a little bit more information about that, and it's something that right now I'm pretty much thinking everybody is like, I want to see more about that story. I want to see that Mad Max Fury Road-esque future, and see how that ragtag team of heroes will do everything it takes to save the world, and what will be what will happen in that little that universe there. So that's a pretty cool little conversation he had with that. Sean O'Connell then has something else to talk about, and this is a little bit more from yesterday in terms of how, you know, studio didn't want Green Lantern in there because they wanted to use their own Green Lantern somewhere. They wanted to introduce him somewhere else. But the insane things that Zack Snyder had to fight through to make sure he brought the Snyder Cut to his fans. Thank you, Zack Snyder. So he said this, you know, this is Zack's own quote. "I'll just be frank. The studio didn't want me to shoot anything new. One of the rules of making the Snyder Cut was that the studio said no shooting of any kind. And then I just, of course, shot stuff anyway. Because suddenly, wait, there's rules now on this? I didn't know. That seems unfair. It's called Snyder Cut." And frankly, there are those caveats, because there were a lot of things, and I won't list them here, that the studio did not want me to have in my version of the movie. And I think, frankly, that was all just because they have their own cinematic universe, and that's great. And they were afraid that what I did might, because they consider a theatrical cut as canon and my cut as the Elseworld, other kind of cul-de-sac, we know the term. So that already was... just hearing that makes me upset, but you're not gonna like this. And so they were like, please don't do anything. Like, no dark side coda. That can't be in there. Those are the kinds of things that were in there, but I looked and I was like, sure, okay, great, do it. I mean, I didn't mean to be subversive and rude, but that was the thing that fans wanted. The deal I had made with the world was that they were going to get the unencumbered Zack Snyder version of Justice League. I don't think anybody in the same position would feel I wasn't cheating. I wasn't doing like, oh, you broke the rules, that's uncool. But no, I think that they've got like a whole bunch of movies. I have like one. And that's to my, that's upsetting to hear that even after announcing the Snyder Cut, they continued to really subject Zack to more of that, trying to make compromises over and over again, which is upsetting, because this is the part where the studio said, yes, let's do it, and let's let Zack do whatever he wants, because we're still doing this side. It should be an Elseworlds thing, but I think they feared it because they realize that this thing may actually turn heads, and people may like this better than our ideas, and so they felt very much fearful of that, and they were scared, and they have every right to, because this side is freaking awesome. Zack Snyder's Justice League is fucking awesome, and the world that he was building is awesome. The ideas, the craziest, the madman in him is absolutely way better than what Warner Brothers is doing right now. But they own the IP. Understandably, they own the IP. They own whatever, they can do whatever they want with that IP. But there's a reason why Jim Lee and the studio, even at DC Fandom, and even before that, and during the Crisis on Infinite Earths, are pitching the multiverse, saying they're here to say, we're Warner Brothers. We are here for director's vision. We are here for artistic creative integrities. But you're really not. That's just a slogan, a tagline you put on your own freaking company, and you're not really actually doing that. So it gave me hope when they were talking about multiverse, because that just signifies that they are going to be like that, right? Because multiverse means any person who has an idea and they want to do that, they can go ahead and do that because it has no effect on any other universe that Warner Brothers wants to partake in. And for the longest time, I thought that's how it was going to play out. But unfortunately, it seems like that's still a problem at Warner Brothers, according to these interviews here that Real Blend had with Zack Snyder. And Zack Snyder has pretty much tired of it. That's why he's like, I'm just going to be frank. They were hard asses. They gave me a hard time. Even when they said, this is your vision, this is your version, you know. And so it's frustrating to hear, frustrating to see that continue to do so. And that's why I yesterday I said, you know, if Grace Randolph is right and there are HBO Max is interested in making a series, that's all the better, because that's out of Warner Brothers camp. It has nothing to do with Warner Brothers camp. It will be everything with HBO Max and AT&T, and Warner Brothers can't even touch it. They don't even greenlight it. They don't have the power over that. And I think that will be the best way to go in getting, you know, the next ones, next movies of the Snyderverse, or even more, you know, the everything else that comes after that, if you will. David Ayer's cut as well, if you will. So, well, David Ayer's probably will be a movie because it was a movie, but I'm hoping that they don't give him a hard time with David Ayer's Suicide Squad as much as they gave Zack Snyder a hard time on Zack Snyder's Justice League. So, but that's my hope in any case, and we'll see if that actually, they'll actually be very good about that. But tomorrow, there's going to be some cool things happening tomorrow. Like this whole weekend is going to be all Zack Snyder's Justice League. Like I said, everybody's like waiting. Well, why aren't they saying anything yet? Well, we got to wait. This is the weekend, right? We just started the weekend. This is the box office opening weekend. It's not the box office opening Thursday or box office opening Friday. It's the whole weekend. The whole weekend's going to have to count. So hopefully by Monday, we'll hear some great news about the numbers and how successful it is. And we'll see if that's any, there's any negotiation after that. But we'll see. But Zack Snyder tweeted this out. I'll be joining Man vs. Game and Joe Manganiello on Twitch tomorrow, and I'm bringing some Justice is Gray news. The show starts at 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we'll be raising money for AFSP National, Stop Suicide, Snyder Cut, Us United. So check that out. There's going to be the black and white edition, news about the black and white edition. I can't wait to find out what that is, and anything else Zack drops tomorrow. So it's going to be another cool celebration, cool little view with Zack Snyder and Joe this time appearing on that Twitch stream. So great to see that. That's really awesome. Also, finally, really, director Zack Snyder is not ruling out a return to the DC Extended. This is the question everybody's wondering. Like, are we gonna get more? Is there something? I mean, he said no and probably not and things like that. But the one quote in here really gives me hope and really gives me faith. I mean, including that he actually liked my video yesterday, and he went on, I posted on Vero, and it's about HBO Max, interested in continuing the Snyderverse, and he liked it. Yes, it's just a like, maybe he just liked, I mean, the thumbnail said restore the Snyderverse as well, but maybe he just liked it, or he's like, that's cute, Chris, no, but, a like to me means hope, and that's all I've ever had, and before the Snyder Cut as well. So as long as we have hope, there's always a way, that it will actually happen. But let's continue though. So Zack Snyder spoke to Entertainment Weekly, and he said this, right, when they were talking about how is there a possibility that he might one day helm another DC project. So he said this: I always go, what is more likely, said Snyder, that Warner Brothers would ask me to make a sequel to Justice League, or that they would resurrect a 3-year-old movie, spend millions of dollars to restore it to my original vision, and then release it. I think that the sequel would have been more likely scenario than what's just happened. So I guess in the face of that, I say, who knows what the future holds? Who knows what the future holds? Like I said, never say never. Never say never. That's one thing to in this business, and as the Snyder Cut has already proven, you never say never, because anything is possible. And like I said before, like it was to a lot of people who asked the question, like, what was harder? releasing the Snyder Cut or getting a sequel. And I'm like, releasing the Snyder Cut, man. And Zack Snyder does say it right there. Releasing the Snyder Cut was the impossible, right? Was the impossible. And so, once you open that can, the worms are in there. We've opened the can. The worms are there. Now we just got to get them out. And I think, making Zack Snyder's Justice League a success, which I think it probably will be now at this point in time. I feel like it's more likely than not, unless something happens and Warner Brothers shoots it down somehow or convinces AT&T HBO Max to shoot it down. But I think right now, in my gut, in my heart, it feels like a foregone conclusion that we're probably going to get more. And for Zack to continue to, he went from denying it to probably to say, I don't know, to this comment here where it's like, who knows what the future holds. That to me feels like he's optimistic that there is a possibility, even a probability, that he'll be able to work on the sequel. And I love that. I think that's the best scenario, ultimate scenario we could ever have. So, and it all started with releasing the Snyder Cut. So that's great news for all of us. Keep up the hope, but continue to watch Zack Snyder's Justice League. Continue to tell people to sign up on HBO Max and watch Zack Snyder's Justice League. Let's have a great box office, in a way, streaming version of box office opening weekend. All right. Now let's get into the members' comments and questions. Now, this is where the point in time I will be, answering comments and questions from members. So if you want me to answer your comment and question and read your comment and question, please join as a member down below. All right, here we go. David the Batman. Hallelujah, brothers. The masterpiece Zack Snyder's Justice League is here, and it's perfect. Thank you, everyone. We did it. Restore the Snyderverse. I thought Zack forfeited a paycheck to get full creative control, so why did he agree with Warner Bros.' request to remove Jon Stewart? My guess is, I think you've said this once, that the HBO Max Green Lantern series will help set up the Justice League 2 threat, also known as Darkseid's Arrival. That's the only rational way I can see Zack agreeing to cut GL. Or, maybe he says right now he'll do that, but in the next one, it's probably a negotiation. Like, he'll think that the next one he can throw a Green Lantern in the next one. Chris, why does Wonder Woman need to be shown how to make tea? She's lived in the world of men for 100 years. She drives, she uses computers, but a kettle and some tea. I think that's more of just showing the relationship between her and Alfred, and how much Alfred is like, I'm set in my own ways. She's set in her own way. She's been there long. He's the older person out of the group, and she's the oldest in terms of being there forever, So it's a cute little thing, and I really enjoyed it. But it goes to show it's more character development for Alfred more than her, really. Or for her to have an understanding of who Alfred is. I love the movie, but I felt Superman was a bit underrepresented, especially in the third act. Do you agree at all? In the third act, no, I think he comes up, beautifully. He just comes in, swoops and saves the day, pretty much, and that's how I expected him to. For him, I think he's being represented throughout the movie. When him not gone, and Bruce trying to really gather a team to make up for Superman's loss. And I really like that moment where the hologram shows up and it's Superman, and he's like, it's not us without Superman, right? It's a team of 6, not 5. And I really dug that. And I think that just shows that he's always there somehow. They need him somehow. And it makes for that, not seeing him and finally seeing him much more worthwhile. It's a huge payoff for me to have him to come up at the end and really kick butt and kick ass in there. So I really loved it. I didn't think so at all. I think I'd say he's kind of represented throughout the movie without actually seeing him. I don't know, it's a weird thing to say, but I felt like he was there, right? And it was about him in a way. So I thought it worked well. The film is indeed everything I expected. I was a bit worried for the first two parts because I wasn't loving it as much as I hoped, but then it all clicked into place with part three, especially Barry's introduction, which is a mesmerizing scene, and then it's just kept revving up and getting more and more crazy. The third act, especially, is glorious. That flash scene, jaw on the floor, one of the best scenes ever committed to film. Could have watched 2 more hours easy. Everyone's great, but Cyborg's and Dia stand up. Flash being my favorite in my opinion. Restore the Snyderverse. My guess hope is a sequel with Ryan being announced this weekend or the coming weeks. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see. I doubt Gal and Ben actually post themselves on social media. Yeah, it could be just their publicist or something. But Ben did say that, when Zack reached out to him, he said, okay. And he did the release of Snyder Cut. So I am hoping that the success of Zack Snyder's Justice League will have a knock-on effect to restoring the Snyderverse, but I do hope the new Black Adam will feature Henry Cavill as Superman. I also given 5 stars on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb to help. That's awesome. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I still hoping that Henry Cavill does get a part within Black Adam or Shazam universe. Aside from the Snyderverse. Point blank, Warner Brothers and DC can't go on about a multiverse and not allow the Snyderverse to continue. In that case, it's not a multiverse. It's a selective collaboration of the characters they want only. I agree. You called it multiverse, and you gotta go by that. I mean, you can't just be selective about the multiverse thing, right? It just doesn't make sense. But Warner Brothers is gonna do what the Warner Brothers is gonna do, and they're gonna be assholes about it. But they own the IP, but like they said, they also have that tagline, creative, artistic creative integrities and stuff like that. Well, do it, let them have it. Are you ready to discuss spoilers yet? Yeah, pretty much in the members' comments, we are discussing spoilers, and I'll have a live chat. I have a spoilers review if you want to go to that. But our Saturday live chat will definitely be a spoiler discussion, so be prepared. Sean Samaru, by the way, thanks for the coffee, Sean. Zack taking on Megas Alexandros Alexander the Great would be epic. I did like what Oliver Stone and Colin Farrell attempted with theirs in 2004, but Zack's would be epic. Real quick, Alexander's father, Philip of Macedonia, first led the conquest to take over Greece, then turned to Persia. Alexander ended up taking over Greece after his father was assassinated and fought Darius III of Persia and finally defeated the Persian Empire. There were 8 Persian kings between Xerxes I to Darius III. Even to this day, Alexander was the greatest of all men. Wow, that's a nice history lesson right there. I had no idea. I am so happy to see Henry Cavill Superman showing support to Zack and the Snyder Cut, restore the Snyderverse. Yeah, still no word from everybody else, but that's okay. Brandon Hayes, as I predicted, this whole situation is a PR nightmare for Warner Bros. Pictures. Everybody now believes Ray Fisher, and everyone sees how they continue to give Zack Snyder a hard time. But I will say this, seeing Martian Manhunter twice was good and worked better. The Martian gave the impression that he knew Bruce's father, which is cooler. But the fandom will get angry at Warner Bros. Pictures now. We almost had Jon Stewart. Warner Bros. Sucks. Warner Bros. Pictures needs to get their shit together. They're looking real bad right now. But yes, I've said it many times, go back and look at the Justice League Unlimited TV series from the 2000s. That should be the template for a streaming series. All of those unused ideas from the canceled films can be repurposed into a streaming series. This 4-hour film can serve as a pilot for that. I'm down with that. I say Zack could be the showrunner, invite in David Ayer, Rick Famuyiwa, and others to work as directors, and different people could come in and out. Yeah, you're going to be mad why. You probably were mad earlier when I talked about what other things Warner Brothers wanted him not to do and stuff like that. But definitely it is continued to be frustrating with Warner Brothers indeed, yeah. But yeah, the Martian Manhunter works very well. And, he can read minds. So maybe he knew that what Bruce was thinking. So that's why he said, your mom and dad would be proud. Just watch it happen. In a few days, we'll get official word on Zack Snyder's Justice League sequels and probably Ben's Batfleck series and company. Ben and Gal will probably tweet about it, not themselves, as in the coming days. If there's one director that I have faith would be capable of maintaining similar production values in the TV format, it's Zack. I'm not 100% sure a JL2 series could absolutely match the scope of Zack Snyder's Justice League, but when you see the production values on certain series these days, and the Middle-earth series with the $250 million budget per season, no doubt Zack can pull it off. Yeah, I'm really intrigued to see what he can do, and just how close and the brilliant way he shot the nightmare scene in Zack Snyder's Justice League, where nobody was on set at the same time. Like Ben Affleck and Jared Leto didn't actually interact with each other, but they were made it so that they looked like they were interacting with each other. So there's so many different possibility ways of creating that, especially when if Justice League 2 is going to be more character driven, even more than this. There's definitely multitude of ways to make it much more smaller in scope, but still feel grander in scale. Hey Chris, I just wondering, because Zack stepped away to mourn the loss of his daughter, did Warner Bros. Zack had any disagreement about the movie or anything about the DCU on how DC wanted to go a different way and Zack wanted to take DC another way? Please let me know. Oh, they absolutely had a disagreement, and that's why that whole thing happened, really. Aside from losing his daughter, they were giving him hard time from the get-go. After BVS, it was just hard time after hard time after hard time. And and him losing his daughter, that was just the last straw. I was just like, I had enough. I just had a thought about why DC not want to put this movie in theaters instead of Joss fucking Whedon, who ended up with, who the others that screwed this so bad. Like I said on my other comments, Warner Brothers and DC would have made more money than what they made on the other movie they had put out there. I watched Zack's movie. That was way, way better than that other movie. And, I'm almost in that conspiratorial with, Garza and Everts when they talked about their spoiler review that, it almost feels like they knew if this went out the way it was, people would continue to want to have Zack Snyder's vision. And Jeff Johns wanted to be the one with the vision. He wanted to be the Kevin Feige. He didn't want Zack to have control over that. And so in that way, they changed it to how it was. But it just fell flat on their face, really. Wow, what can I say, Chris? Everything we should have had 4 years ago and more, we would have had got a solo Batman with Deathstroke, Cyborg, and possibly The Flash, another 2 JL movies. How stupid, thick, and stubborn are Warner Brothers? Like, really? I am totally baffled by their decision. They must really hate Zack. Even the Green Lantern choice with them fighting him over Jon Stewart, I just can't get my head around it. AT&T should walk into their office and Warner Bros. Would step in with Electro Axe and Wreck Shop, chop Hamada and Berg out of existence, and use the anti-life equation to control all the other fools to make Zack the new head of DC and give him free reign. But in reality, Warner Bros. Doesn't deserve to have the keys to such a precious IP such as DC. Anyway, stay safe, Chris, and keep on smiling. Restore the Snyderverse. Yeah. And it took a third party, really. It took a company taking over Warner Brothers to really get this out there. Like, it really did take AT&T. So I'm very we have to thank AT&T. Thank you, HBO Max. Thanks to them, Warner Media, for accomplishing this. I watched it 2.5 times yesterday. Shane S. Elman, 2 times since seen already and plan to watch again tonight. I have to say as well, HBO Max kept freezing. Janie told me, if it keeps freezing, why are you watching? Just turn it off. I said no, because if I turn it off, my click shows as a fan who dropped off. Oh, I fought through the freezing like I fought 4 years to get this movie. Oh, wow, man. I got to the end, and last night I did the same. Chris, what are your chances of your if I want to eat the hot dog, I'll eat the fucking hot dog speech and the amazing hot dog scene in the Snyder Cut? It's like you either knew it would be in the movie, you have the power to bend time like Flash, or you're a psychic, or just a tinfoil hat full of coincidence. Keep that hot dog light on. I'm going to echo Stephen Colbert. He says, I think the hot dog chose you. And I'm like, yeah, I think the hot dog chose me. Thank you, hot dog, for choosing me. But weird coincidence. Definitely a weird-ass coincidence. First time I watched it, I heard Whedon's dumb line for Lois in my head. You smell nice. I was appalled from mishearing. I guess I was conditioned. Then on the second watch, I heard her say, you spoke. That was way better. Damn you, Whedon. I don't know what the deal with him with being thirsty and smelly and, I don't know, weird. Itchy, I have no idea. Think someone should remind Johns that he didn't create the character of Jon Stewart, and perhaps the most iconic version of him from the Justice League animated series was kinda before his time. Seriously, it's called a multiverse, executives. I'm like, exactly, man. What the fuck you're doing? Man, AT&T didn't buy Warner Bros. To stroke executives' egos there. Money talks, bullshit walks. Restore the Snyderverse. Yeah. Let's see. I'll say this. One of the most interesting things Zack said in the watch party chat is that the Justice League is set a month after Clark's funeral in BVS. So this leads to a lot of implications I can't talk about without bringing up spoilers about a certain character. Meantime, something I can point to, Bruce has probably been very busy in that month looking for the others. I somehow doubt he's got time for anything else. More when I'm able to talk spoilers, maybe on a live stream or two Saturday night. Yeah, on Saturday night you can talk spoilers. Yeah, and actually you can talk, like I said, avoid members' comments if you don't want spoilers at this point. I saw it 3 times since it came out and cried every single time, man. What an emotional roller coaster throughout the movie and all the hard work everyone put in to make this happen. Thank you, Chris, especially for being such a hopeful beacon throughout the years. I love you, man. I love you too. Thank you so much for being there and joining me for the ride. We'll fit this throughout my day, even though I can watch this anytime because I love your energy. Going to marathon the unofficial trilogy this weekend. Well, thank you so much. My body is ready. Body is ready. Oh, there's some replies here. Let's see. I find it interesting how Diana doesn't seem to have an issue with bringing back Clark. This is probably particularly interesting because a storyboard Zack showed from the sequence had Diana look like she was furious at the subject of the conversation, and at one point Bruce throws back his chair. So what are they arguing about in the uncut scene? Must investigate further. Yeah, I'm not sure. You don't have to go back to the storyboards to check what that was about again. I forgot. Well, and Steppenwolf told her he killed her mom. She may doubt that, but unless she goes home, she can't be sure. I think she wants to be sure. That's very true. He doesn't really know. He says, you're lying. And if the Themyscira is still there, very true. So that's all even more so that she would probably want to go home. Not that we're in the spoilers review, I'll go into the implications of what Zack said about Justice League being a set month after BVS involving Lois. This really solidifies that if Lois is pregnant before Clark returns, she almost certainly conceived right where a lot of folks were speculating ever since BVS came out, the bathtub sequence. I was always very skeptical about this idea because I was sure JL was set further apart from BVS, but now we know. The single month also completely discredits any notion that Lois would have any desire whatsoever to return the romantic feelings of anyone. She herself tells Martha, interestingly enough, that she'll never love anyone like she loved Clark. So maybe she's saying what she learned from an attempt at nope. She's so driven to a period of isolation that she never been in a situation that she's clearly shown as obsessed with what she's lost, even Clark's cape. Even keeping Clark's cape. Finally, Clark can hear heartbeats, and he never once remarks about a second heartbeat on screen. Either Lois isn't pregnant and just has the test because she's wondering if she got pregnant that night, or she is pregnant because he's the father. No on-screen conversation about the heartbeat means no setup for any twist to come about the father, and somehow I doubt Zack would ever be that happy. So I think like that whole Bruce and Lois is gone. Like that part was only in the storyboards. That's the original plan. Now it's not the original. This is something else altogether. And Liz Wonder on Vodka Stream mentioned something, a theory that's really cool, is that maybe that's why Clark stopped, because he could see that there is a Kryptonian baby within somehow, I don't know how, but like he knows that she's pregnant, and that's where he sees that. X-ray vision, so I thought that was a really cool theory that she had. It was nice to see Aquaman as a much more serious character, not as a petty thief. Love Affleck as Bruce Wayne and his interaction with Alfred. Flash was much better than I expected. The only down thing for me is that we don't see much of Superman. I know they defeated Steppenwolf thanks to him, but I didn't feel that he had much relevance in the movie. Darkseid, Steppenwolf, Cyborg, and Wonder Woman were amazing. I mean, I still think without him, they couldn't have defeated Steppenwolf. They were having a hard time with him. And so for that, him being the, I don't want to say it, but he was the big gun, and he did help Cyborg pull away the mother boxes as well. So he did have some effort in there, and was the one that kind of helped save. But it's this Justice League, so everybody really had something to do. And I love that. I love that everybody had their own skill set, and they utilized their own skill set to win the battle. New theory, Chris. With Martian Manhunter, he has the power to manipulate dreams and thoughts. Seeing him getting Lois back into the game while being emotional down was powerful. But seems like he knew what plans Batman and the team was on, because Lois was perfectly there for Clark. The dialogue at the end with him and Bruce was so amazing, as well as like Earth Guardian. Here's my theory, Chris, that he's the one sending Bruce the nightmare, or maybe helping him unlock those dreams. But Chris, freaking 10 out of 10. Also, I hate Aquaman now because Zack's version is so much better than the ocean, darker, and feels real. The Speed Force. Now, about the nightmare vision, I want to say that, when Flash says that weird things happen when he goes into the Speed Force and stuff like that. I want to say that every time he does that, it unlocks it for some reason because he's connected to Bruce now. That it made Bruce see more and more into the Vision. That's just my guess. The Speed Force scene is extraordinary. Jaw on the floor, and yes, that injury mattered. They knew if Zack used Jon Stewart, nobody would care about the other one. They're scared of Zack. Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with that. I mean, they're clearly feeling like, oh man, Zack's been doing DC better than our company. Batting 1,000, Chris, it's a percentage. Batting 100 would mean battling 0.100. Oh, really? Literally only connected in 1/10 of her attempts, 8,000 discounts 100% of the time. I found the banter between Lex and Deathstroke as he takes off his mask also really hilarious. Let me guess, an eye for an eye. I know, very cool dialogue. Just like very smart dialogue, I would say. Very, there's quips in a way, right? Yes, sir, this film was a strong movie, very well done, and this was just an extended trailer for what's to come. Let's see what happens. The fight has not ended, just changed the lanes. I like that. Restore the Snyderverse. By the way, I ended up having to work on the 18th, so my friends and I couldn't marathon Man of Steel BVS on Wednesday ahead of the launch. Had to wait until after Thursday. Just watched Justice League. I ended up working on a 10-hour day on 2 hours of sleep before watching the movie. One of my friends backed out, knowing he's got trouble concentrating for 4 hours. So it was just one of my Marvel-loving friends who watched it with me. He's also a Whedon fan who's had some trouble with the recent revelations, but he loved Zack Snyder Justice League. I'm hearing a lot of that too. He said it was incredible. Flash and Ryan Choi were his favorites. He posted today that he's glad I got him into the Snyderverse and that it was worth seeing Man of Steel and BVS to get to this point. That's awesome. Yeah, the arc is definitely there. I've seen a lot more people appreciating what was before, knowing where it was supposed to go. Things I love: Queen Hippolyta, Amazon's Fight, Darkseid, The Saw, Step-O Zoom Call, Flash Reversing Time, all that stuff. Yeah. Things I thought we were going to see. Yeah, we don't have the parademon cocoons, nor do we see humans turning into parademons. No Deathstroke fight. No GL in the end. Things I thought are Whedon's back to the Dark Ages. Oh, that's the bat signal. Kal-El, no. Things I like less: Superman's short screen time, Martian Manhunter CGI, Martha Manhunter. Sorry, Zach, I love Martian Manhunter, but I think that scene should be the real Martha. Yeah, I mean, that's your view on it, and it's okay to have those thoughts. Standout scenes for me was the scenes on Themyscira. The visuals and action just insane. Reminded me of 300. I would love him to direct an Amazonians versus Atlantis film or every DC film ever. Haha. Also, you have a satellite? I have 6. Well, I think if they want, they can somehow connect to James Wan's a la Into the Spider-Verse movie. Coca-Cola might be called Coca-Soda in another dimension, but the stories unfold more or less the same. Yeah. And I even think like, oh, okay, yeah, she loses her accent, whatever, and they look different, yeah. And then maybe she's a princess now, and maybe she's like, oh, I like, like Aquaman's like, I thought you said your parents died in the war, and she's like, they died to me. They're dead they're dead inside, or something. But I really think there was something else. It was definitely changes because even Jeff Johns came in and went into Aquaman, so he also did some stuff to Aquaman as well. He's credited as going over to Aquaman and talking to James Wan and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's just how it went, right? So, unfortunately. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Like I said, if you absolutely love this daily dose of entertainment news and content, please click the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that notification bell, keep this hot dog light on, and I'll see you tomorrow. We're going to have a Saturday all spoilery live chat discussion, anything you want to talk about. And if you want to talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League, all the spoilery stuff, go ahead and do it. The floor is open to you guys. I fixed the whole StreamYard thing, so I should be able to highlight your comments on screen. So that's awesome. And yeah, and then I'll see you tomorrow night. All right, I'll see you later. Okay, that's it. Bye.